So then, we are back with a more understanding from the Renewed Covenant from the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation is from the original documents of the prophets of old, from the time of the prophets of Israel. So then we have in the future the unfolding of the prophecies very clearly and very precisely, as during the time of Yirmiyahu. And then we can make plans ourselves, making sure that the world is also in line and in harmony with the divine plan. And then it's very important these days we understand then this divine plan. It's extremely simple, in fact. However, it takes a great deal of understanding of what not to do. Very important, because since the world is secularly speaking, people, they were always thinking of what they should do because of the uncertainty of the future. This time, the divine is teaching otherwise. The divine has provided the path, and we should be concerned in what not to do. Very important thinking, because rather than spending time in doing a non-productive set of plans, we should do the contrary. That's why our president is very wise in standing back. He is not voicing out, he is not pushing a situation far beyond his means, because he understands the delicate situation. And he is very extremely wise, because he is refraining himself of what not to do. As per the line of Scripture, if we are wise during this time, we can make very tiny decisions, and they have huge impact. A time of reflection, a time of verifying precisely what is on the agenda ever since this government started. Because there is a new era coming in, a new time, a new trades partner, and then we should be extremely secure in what measures we should take, or then the decisions being made to benefit us in the future. So the Creator has provided this time for us so we can be wise in what not to do. Because heaven has provided already whatsoever is required to get this time lined up and in harmony with His schedule. And interestingly enough, the Chinese, they have their own understanding of harmony, and it harmonizes with the plan. So if you want to then not understand this time, sit back and observe the evil of the other party. If you know what evil is, simply stand back, read the Scripture, understand the times and the seasons, and try to observe what the other party is trying to do. If you truly want to know who Satan is and what he does, and a destructive power, then only observe what the other party is doing. It's a perfect picture of understanding of it. Because a time requires a time of reflection, a time where then no big changes should be done in a country other than China, a time of rebuilding, a time of being cautious in what's sent out and what's coming in, and then verifying what were the plans when this government started, and continue on harmoniously until we reach then stability in our economy, and we understand what it takes to get this stability. We must then obviously start reading what the president had already on his agenda at the starting of this government, and then obviously extracting our own petroleum, not importing so much, and then whatsoever is not consumed, then obviously the Middle East would give to China, so they can continue on being the factory of the world and doing trade. And then obviously we have no escape from privatization. It's an absolutely a must. So then we can control our expenses, and then making sure, rather than spending the extra money, we then make sure that those are then saved for the improvement of the existing areas of the plan of the president. That's being wise. And in fact, Great Britain has already started a plan of a privatization, and we should be very focused in what they are doing, because they are again leading the speaking English countries in what do the best. And watching then Germany came out of a very bad deal in terms of their involvement with aerospacing, and they were wise in rejecting it. And also they are being wise and then finding a way out of the euro. So there is a huge adjustment coming, but most of those are very light decisions comparing with what they should not to do. So it's a time of then the sit back person evaluating what moves a person should make. That's why this government should remain as it is. No changes. Must remain absolutely intact. No big new plans, no big changes other than doing what was already on the agenda of this government when he first started. So they maintain a line of gradual stability and then gradual growing without big plans. As we understand, then privatizing our agencies without jeopardizing its services, then we understand what it takes then of the next step. As the services then they are improved because private sectors then are leaning the system in making it profitable, and then the services then the quality obviously much higher, then there would have more funding for other important projects. Such as obviously the oil industry, and then gas, coal, and then the alternative energies. Until we gain enough certainty of the market and we already know what to expect, because we have to line up our economy with China's economy. And since we owe them a lot, then we could make a deal and easy payments, while then doing privatization and then retrieving our military as then China delivers their cargo already, then escorted, indicating their presence in the region in a constant trades base. And then we very slowly we retrieve from the war scene, because a time of trade, never neglecting the security, but then withdrawing for further reconstruction. But those areas, there must be a person that is qualified enough of what not to do. So the evil party wants to always blame and point the finger and trying to show you what a person have not done, what a person has not done. But then that's precisely the way we should be thinking at the moment. It's what a person should not do. And our president is acting precisely what he should not be doing. He understands he should be doing more in certain areas, but then we are limited because then so much debt was paid and our system is depleted. It's a normal factor. When you have so much debt and you pay so much, then you can do so much afterwards. Has to have time. And this second term should be a whole lot more promising, because we have the backing from heaven this time. So if you truly know what evil is, watch what the other party is doing. They are coming up with the crazy ideas in a time where we can't make big changes. It's not the time for it, because the big changes are coming by itself. So we should be concerned in what not to do. So then we continue on with the existing plans. And as he pointed out, we are yet with our economy down, but it is coming back up because of the normal factor of spending so much. And people has to have the proper understanding of what it means paying so much and then recovering from. It's truly childish believing then a company or then related with a country when it pays so much debt and then having so much to do, so much growth and then so many promises. It's not realistic. It's very childish. And we must be humble and acknowledge heaven's schedule. Because we have only benefits from this time on if we act wisely. We should be extremely concerned of what not to do. Never being impulsive, always counting the expenses, and then projecting slow growth but steady. So then we have a chance of saving our monetary system. And then these huge costs going on around the world as we reduce them, because there is no longer justification for those. Countries are then lining up themselves and they can do trade with very limited funding, with a country providing them materials to do the work. And there is so much trade going on, they can directly trade their own natural resources for products. It's an amazing time we are living at this moment. So as the nations then they begin to line up themselves with a new trade system, war then is a situation of the past. War is for the stupid people. So if you are stupid, then you are involved with war. Not speaking of being wise and maintaining security, that's another situation. But heaven is indicating it's time of rebuilding, refurbishment, time of renewal. So for the sanity of our country, for the global world's market, China is leading it. We can't deny it. Please vote for Obama. Make sure he remains there nice and quiet, as he was doing in the past. Gradual changes, wise decisions, and then observing the news coming from abroad. And most importantly, our expenses then can be under the control for the first time. Because as wise China then begins to do trade with the Middle East, with Europe, those troublesome areas, when they observe their trade, their funding being respected, whatsoever they earn, they make a deal, and they receive the products for the intent of rebuilding, and along with this comes then military escorting. It obviously brings then the other countries to a halt. because it's non-military related, and do precisely what then the leaders of those countries want. They want more development, they want more security for their people, and the time has come for it. So if there are people that they have word, they make deal with China and they receive what they want for rebuilding, and then they do trade. When their involvement becomes more and more prominent in those sensitive areas of the world, then it's an indicator for us to withdraw. Without neglecting security, but then delegating this trade's time as an involvement of peace, refraining from war. And then our ships, our military, very only symbolic involvement around the world, only managing and observing what's going on until we are rebuilt. So countries that we used to give so much money, they can start planting, they can start working the land, because there is a partner coming in extremely powerful only for the intent of trade. There is no interest in invasion, neither in imposing of socialism. Purely trade. And obviously they're going to have many outposts around the world in order for the demand to be met. And then while we then begin a refurbishment of our own, then we can help our friends in Africa, as they are in such a dire strait for decades. So the situation is presenting itself from heaven very perfectly. So as we receive more of these understandings from heaven, then we are aware of what not to do. Because when heaven is involved, then our thinking must change. Before, during the deceit time, is what we should do, what we should do, what we should do. When heaven is involved, what you should not to do. So then we gain time, and we can work slowly, because there is no more impending war, at least for a great period of time. And Yeshayahu has given us very precise and clear prophecies. You begin to read the 61st chapter, as per the original documents, you find a huge piece of time related with the renovation, not only of his people, but then the Gentiles. He included the Gentiles in the midst of it. This is how great Yahweh is, the true Creator. So then we only sit back wisely, and then we make decisions based upon this harmony coming from heaven, so we can line up ourselves with it without causing trouble. Because when the heaven is involved, then the country producing trouble, they get back what they produce. Working against the heaven is never productive. So then great news everywhere. We have great news from Great Britain, great news from Germany, great news from China. They are building also another Shanghai Tower. It was going to be ready in another year and a half or so, or before even. And they already know, they are given then the forward motion to become then this leader of the time of the end. They knew from centuries before they would be leading during this time. So then our entire monetary system, and then our trade, our stocks and bonds and so on and so forth, the entire software system must be lined up with China's. Only for the solely purpose of trade. That's the gift of Yahweh for us. Please stay tuned, much more coming up.